Today we're going to spend some time learning how to use our cameras to capture texture in a more creative way than you probably have ever thought of before. Stay tuned. So we are here today in one of our Phoenix city parks, and we are going to be exploring some of the textures, like I said a second ago, that we are just surrounded by. We don't always think, so much about the grass that we're walking on, the gravel that's around us, the trees that are surrounding us. We don't look at those things as closely sometimes as we could. And I'm going to show you some creative approaches today to capturing those textures and using those images then in your creative Photoshop work, whether you're digital scrapbooking or you're a fine art photographer like me, where you take portraits and enhance them. You can always use textures to clean up and dress up your work. It works in my family portrait business, it works with high school seniors, it works with pets, it works in my sports photography. So let's get started by just taking a quick look at, I'm just going to take a really boring shot here of the grass in front of me. I'm going to use the macro lens. I'm going to end up building a brush from this. I'm going to use it as a texture for overlays. I'm going to use it as a backdrop. We can blend it into a whole bunch of different stuff. So we have a couple different grass textures to start with. There's a whole bunch of dry brush in here, dry dead stuff from this tree. We're going to get some of that tree as well. This is a little bit of a different texture here. We got the sun coming in, so I like the shadows coming in from this angle. If I turn this way and I've got the sun hitting me from a different angle, it's going to look entirely different. And here's some even finer powder up here. It has a whole different look. This is just a very typical southwest looking scene. I've got to crop in, zoom in here a little bit more. I'm going to back up and try this wide angle again of the entire mesquite tree. And again, I'm going to keep an eye on my exposures. And here's what this looks like. A nice rich blue sky happening here at sunset. I like the contrast of the blue and the green. And we have some more really fun textures going on over here. I love this little orange, these orange blooms. Zoom in a little bit. And again, I've got the sun coming in, hitting this at a 90-degree angle from the camera. I'm going to capture the whole bush while I'm here. And I'm also going to zoom in. I'm going to get some of these pods because I really like how this looks as well. See, if I come around with the sun directly behind me, this image looks kind of flat. It ends up just flat lit because there's no shadows being created from my perspective. As I turn and the sun hits from here, now I'm getting shadows on this side. And now I've got the light and the dark and the contrast, and it adds a lot more interest and shape to the texture. And in fact, I'm going to unzoom a little bit and catch this entire bush. And while I'm in here, I'm going to zoom in on one of these leaves. I like this leaf right here. I don't know if you heard that or not. We have resident peach-faced lovebirds that are feral and flying around out here in Phoenix and loving life as feral communities. And I'm going to come over to a section of this finer powder gravel where we don't have debris from these plants. So the gravel's a little bit cleaner. And we're going to get some of that here too. Oh, you know what? There's some bark on this tree that looks cool too. Let's take a look at this. Here's an interesting knot. We're going to get that. That's pretty. That's going to be really pretty with what we do with it. Or grungy. I'm not sure exactly if you consider grunge pretty. It'll be different. We can do some pretty stuff and we can do some grungy stuff with it. We can do both. And I'll show you that in future videos. Here's more of a piece of a rock, piece of cement. There's cement texture. Let's see what we can do with that here. Oh, I love the shadows right there. The sunset and the textures that are happening because of the sun hitting this hill, as you can see, are just outstanding. So we're going to grab the camera and I'm going to keep shooting some of the desert southwest textures. There's all kinds of brush here around us. There's all kinds of gravel and rocks and lava and quartz and just all kinds of fun stuff. And I just want to capture this too because we're going to do some other work with this photograph. I love how this brush looks. And this guy looks entirely different. Let's capture him as well. I love the cracks in this one. And this guy has some rust in it, so there's iron that has been mined in this hill. This rock has some green in it. And here's one more very cool brush. And if Bob Ross was here, he'd be saying a happy little scorpion lives right over here. So I need to watch where I'm stepping. Happy little rattlesnake lives right over here. Paint him into this picture. He's just happy, sitting there all by himself. We're not messing with him any. So there you have it. We've been in the park today. We've been photographing some of the textures that are around us here in the city, within a city park. So grab your cameras and happy shooting. Today we're going to learn some creative ways to use our camera and explore the textures that are around us. I'm going to use the macro lens, and no, I'm not. Hang on a second. Take 3.